Hello! In this video, you are going to learn how to use what we call in the field of GIS a DEM, a digital elevation model, and use it for some really cool elevation analysis. So we're going to do a few things today. We're going to look at elevation and contours. There are all sorts of really cool things that I'd like to go over, but we're just going to do two, okay? But I will mention some other things that I think are really cool, okay? So first things first, you can see here we've got QGIS open in your lab. It has you going to download some information on Mount Everest. Now that website at the time of recording is not working, so I want you to jump down. It wasn't working anyway the last time I was there. To procedure 5, and at the bottom of procedure 5 there is a zip file starting with GMTED, okay? And you're going to download that file. And that's what you would have downloaded had you gone to that website and got the right information, okay? So you've downloaded that. You're going to put that in your GIS folder that is linked to your browser. For me, I've got it linked to my C drive, and I've got a GIS folder. And I named this one, this particular lab terrain, okay? So we're going with terrain. Let's see, where did I put that in here? I know it's in here. Let me refresh my screen here. Make sure it shows up. Terrain. Did I miss it? There it is. Terrain. Okay. We've got what we need. So what we need to do first is we can add this to our folder. Now there are lots of ways to do this. This lab has you going up to layer. You could do it by clicking on this and going to raster, or you could even go in and find it directly in the browser and just pulling it in like we've been doing. But I'm going to follow the instructions, and we're going to add raster. And this is the exact same thing that would come up if you were to click on this and then click on raster here. So, all right, so what we're going to do is we're going to click on these three dots. I clicked on those three dots, and you're going to looking for this one. So these are TIFF files, okay? TIFF files. And so as long as it says TIFF, you're good. Ooh, we don't want this one, actually. We want this one. We want this one. And so we're going to open it. TIFF files are just image files. They are usually pretty high density. They can put lots of information. And so we like those. DEM files could be other types of files too. They're just different types of image files that can be used in QGIS. And so when you go out and look for a digital elevation model file, then don't worry if it's not a TIFF. It could be something else. All right, so let's move myself up there. So we've got this. We don't need to mess with any of the options. We can just click add. And let's see what it looks like. All right, so we've got this. Now, if you look really closely, there's a boundary, and it's very light. We can't see it very well because the bandwidth here has the lighting is, you have to be pretty high up in elevation, and these areas up here are much higher than most of India. And so we're going to be looking at Mount Everest, and so we can guess that Mount Everest is probably in this area, and we're going to zoom in on this area. So that was step 6 and 7. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go to step 9. And in step 9, there is a latitude and longitude. And what you're going to do is you're going to copy and paste that. So I've copied that. And then I'm going to come down here to coordinates. And I'm just going to paste that in there. Okay. And I've pasted that in there, and I'm going to hit enter. And you can see that it's now gone to a very specific point. Okay. So again, if you need me to show you where that's at, here it is in the instructions. You can just copy, Control C, or you can right click and hit copy. That's fine. Move that out of the way. You're coming down here to the coordinate, and you're going to just hit Control V or paste it in, hit enter, and this is where you're at. Now, what we want to do is change the scale next. And so you can see under that coordinate a scale. It says zoom in or enter this value. So it's 1:1,000,000. Yeah, 1:1,000,000. So we're changing the scale of it. And so down here at the bottom of your screen, you've got a scale area that you can just type that in or paste it in. So 1:1,000,000, and we're going to hit enter. And boy, we've got a big black screen. We can kind of see some stuff in here, but not yet. Okay, that's okay. And we could totally adjust this if we wanted to, right? You know, it actually doesn't look the way it was supposed to look at the moment. So I am going to just pause this for a second. All right, so if it doesn't look like this, then you probably need to try one more time to grab the coordinates. So I'm going to copy these coordinates, and I'm going to put them down here. I've put them in there. Again, make sure your scale is right, and then it should kind of look like this, okay? And then we're good to go, okay? All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to, obviously this is a bigger map. We don't see everything. We've zoomed in a bit. We want to just look at this information. And the reason we want to do this is when you're working with digital elevation models, they can often be very large files. And when they're large files, it means you slow down the computer. It could cause it to crash, stuff like that. So we're going to clip this section out, and we're going to do that by going into data processing. So we've got our toolbox up here, processing toolbox, and we're going to go clip raster. Okay, and we're going to choose the one clip raster by extent. Okay, all right, and so we've already got our raster file input as our input layer. We can just double check and look. Yeah, that's the same one. We're good. Now we want to clip it by the extent that we've zoomed in. So hopefully you haven't played with that at all. And so all you got to do is click this button right here, and it says set to current map canvas extent. So we're going to click on that, and you can see it's filled in with information. Okay, and then we're going to go down here. If this button is down, then you want to close it so that it's not in the way. Okay, we want to go to clipped extent, and we're going to go over here to the right and hit on the 3 dots, and we're going to save it to a file, and we're just going to put in Mount Everest. I've already got it in there. So it's going to ask me if I want to replace it. Yes, I do, because I'm doing this all over again for you guys. And I'm going to click run. Okay, so it's complete. We can go over here and look. We've got Mount Everest. So we don't need the old one anymore. I'm just going to click off of that. And now we just have this nice little box here. You probably won't see any change on your screen unless you were to zoom back out. Don't do that. There's no reason to do that. We'll just look at this. Okay, you can see the extent's a little bit different too. Now we're going to do a few analyses here. We're going to do a contour and a hillshade analysis. So I'm going to read you the definition of a hillshade analysis because even for me it's a little crazy to try and explain. Hillshade generates a grayscale image of a digital elevation model, a DEM, which is what we've got here, okay? Where each pixel's brightness reflects the amount of light it would receive in a hypothetical light source, okay? The sun, right? Okay, is a pretty typical light source. So how much light is it receiving? The brightness is calculated based on the terrain's slope and aspect. So slope is, you know, something like that, 45% slope right there, 30% slope. You know what I'm talking about. Slope is how steep a hill is, if you will. Aspect is the direction of that slope. Which way is it facing? So this way for me is north, right? And so if a slope was faced that direction, it would be a north facing aspect. Since that way is east, that would be an east facing aspect, if that's useful, and so on and so forth. So it's using both the steepness of that slope and the direction that slope is using, which we call slope and aspect, in order to calculate how much light this is receiving. And we call this a hillshade analysis. So we're going to go over here to our toolbox and just type in hillshade. And I've done it before, so it's in my recently used, but yours will be down under GDAL, raster analysis, hillshade. And you just clicked on that. We're going to use the Mount Everest as our input layer. We are going to go down here and make sure this is 315 azimuth and 45 degrees altitude of the light. And so it's just telling you, you're just giving it instructions about where that light is going to be coming from. And these are fairly typical numbers you would use if you were running a hillshade analysis, okay? All right, so then we're gonna make sure that we're gonna save it into the right spot. So under the hillshade, it'll usually say save to temporary file. We're just gonna come over here and save to file. And then we're gonna type in Mount Everest underscore hillshade, and I'm gonna hit save. And yes, I'm going to replace it because I'm doing this for you. You won't see that if you haven't run it before. And I'm gonna hit run. Okay, and hit complete. Whoa, look at this. And you can see that it looks quite a bit different. And we've got hillshade here. We've got Mount Everest here, and we're going to do one more analysis real quick, okay? So this one is called contour. Again, it's already up here on mine because I've already used it, but let's just type it here. And so raster extraction, yours is going to be a contour. It's right there. We're going to do this. We want to switch this back to Mount Everest. So Mount Everest as our input layer. Our band is good. I don't believe we need to change anything. Let me just double check our instructions. So we're down to step 16. Oh, and they do want us to change this to 250. And that's just telling you how far apart those lines are going to be. So, so that's the interval of these lines. If you know what a contour is, contours, there are contour maps that just show you how elevation changes. We're kind of making one of those right now. Okay, and then we're gonna go down to save, down here under contours, save to file, and then we'll do Mount Everest, contour, and there we go. We're gonna make sure it's this GPKG file format, and we're gonna click save, and then we're gonna run it, okay? And then we can see we've got a whole bunch of contour lines out here. So it actually added a not a new raster file, but a new vector file. And if you look closely, you can see we've got lines on here all of a sudden. It gives us some idea of the elevational changes that are taking place. All right, so that was 17. And so we could actually right click on to this Mount Everest contour file and go to the attribute table. And you can see elevations for each one of those, which is kind of cool that you can see all the different elevations of those lines. Okay, so if I were to click on one of those, let's see if we can see it on here. Did it highlight it? It's supposed to highlight these. I don't see it. I'll have to hit select. So I'm going to hit select. We're going to come down here. We're going to zoom in, and we're just going to click on one of those. All right. Now, if I go over here to our attribute table, we can see if I show. Let's just show selected feature. And so where that yellow line is, the elevation is 2,000 meters. Okay. 2,000 meters. That's where it's at. All right. So now we want to look for the highest location or highest locations we can find on there. So what we're going to do is we're going to find the elevation of 8,500 feet. So this is 1,900. So we're going to go back to this Mount Everest contour, and it's not feet, sorry. We're looking for meters, right? So way to do that, if you click on here, up here, so it's just put the very lowest elevations contours up here. But we want the tallest. So we're going to click on that again because the tallest is going to be Mount Everest, right? And so there's Mount Everest right there. And we're going to click on this magnifying button. Okay. And let's just move this out of the way. And pull back up my screen here. So it zoomed in on Mount Everest. I'm just going to back out just a tad so I can see it a little bit better. So this is Mount Everest here and the contour lines that we have. So 8,500 meters. It's not giving us the exact elevation, but pretty close. Okay. All right. So now we have done that. Let's look at our instructions to make sure we know what we're doing here. And step 20 shows us the yellow image. Okay. And what we're going to do next is something called smoothing. So we're going to type in smooth. Oops. I'm going to pause this for a second. All right. So we're going to click on smooth and pull this up. All right. So we want to have our iterations at 5. So this has got the input layer needs to be the contour layer that we just made, okay? And we're going to click run. Okay, all right, so we did that. And what did that do? Well, it made it so that it was less, you if you look at this, so prior to that, our lines were very choppy. Okay, now it's very smooth. So if I remove our previous contour lines, the purple lines, let's make that look a little bit brighter. So let's go to symbology. I'm going to make this brighter because it is so dark. And I think I'm going to make that yellow just to give it a little pop. Maybe a yellow green. There we go. Now that's ugly. Now I'm going to make that much brighter. There we go. So I just played around with the coloring for a little bit, and let's apply that. And let's make it a little thicker too, because I can barely see that. So I'm going to just pop that out a little bit. And I can see that a little bit better. And you can see that now the lines are much smoother in how they bend around. And so if I back out a little bit, look at that. Isn't that pretty? We got smooth lines, looks a little more real. And so pretty cool. And so what we're going to do now in step 23 is we're going to make what is known as a KLM. Now, when you use Google Earth, it uses a very specific type of file type, and that's called a KLM. And we're going to make that very, very specific type of file. And so we're going to go up to export, which is under, we're going to do it this way. Okay. So we're going to click on this smooth layer and we'll click on export. And we're going to select save feature as. Okay. So if you didn't see how I do that, let me repeat that. Click on the smooth layer, right click, the mouse button, and then down here to export, and then save feature as. Okay, and there we go. We're going to change this top thing to a KLM file. Where's the KLM files? I just saw it. There it is. Keyhole markup language. There you go. And then we're going to give it a new name. This is going to be step 25. We're going to call it contour underscore smoothed. Okay, contour underscore smoothed. All right, and we're going to make sure it's in our train folder. I'm going to copy that. Make sure it's in our GIS folder. So I've got my train folder, contour smooth. Okay, all right. See, it's in my GIS folder, terrain, and contour smooth. All right, so we're good. We're good. All right, and I'm going to change this name right under here to, oops, this should be an N. Is there an R in there too? Contour. Got someone coming soon. Okay, and then we'll click OK. And if I look here, I've got a KLM right there. All right, so this popped up after I was done. It's there. We've got what we're looking for. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go to Google Earth. If you've never done Google Earth before, it's pretty easy. Just go to a browser page. So let me bring up a browser page. here. Okay. And just in the search bar in your web browser, just type in Google Earth. So yes, when I typed in Google Earth, I used ChatGPT for my web browser. So this came up. This would come up in any web browser. You're just going to explore Google Earth. You'll click on it. The first time you do it, it'll probably give you an option to do a mobile, a web version, or a Google Earth Pro, which is a software you can download. Super awesome program to download. Highly recommend it. I can't do that on my work computer, so we're just going to do that we're going to do the project from here. Now, there's a problem. If we try to import, so you're going to click import, import KLM file, and you're going to do it from device. Let me show you what happens when we do that. So I'm going to go to my file, and I've got my KLM file that we created. I'm going to click open, and what we're going to see is an error going to occur. Okay. So it's doing it. It says it's going to take about 5 minutes. So I already know where I'm going. So yours would probably be more like this here. The whole planet. That's what yours is going to look like. This is going to fail in just a moment. Yep, there it is. It's going to tell you why it failed right here. It's got way too many polygons, and Google Earth has a limit of 250,000, and we've got more than that in our KLM file. And so we've got to shrink that down. So we're going to do that by going back to our folder here, and I've got to remove that because I already did it once. I'm going to remove that so it doesn't confuse us, and this one too, so it doesn't confuse us. Don't you do that. Okay. And so we've already done clipping. We clipped the raster earlier on in the lab, but in this one we aren't going to clip a raster. We're going to clip these lines, and remember that these lines are called lines, points, and polygons, and this is recording, isn't it? I just did that all over. I think it's recording. I hope it's recording. Anyway, I assume it's recording. Anyway, so you're going to clip this by vector and not by raster. So vector, you're going to double click this by extent. We're going to clip our contour folder. And again, when we do that, we can use this little icon here to set it to specifically to what we're looking at on our folder here. So this area that we're looking at. Okay. All right. And then we just choose a file to save it to, click the 3 dots as usual, and I am going to use this smooth, and I think I put small in there too, just so it's clear. Okay, to us what we're doing. Okay, so I've got a new file name on there, and I'm going to click run. And what that's going to do is oops, did it not work? Oh, it worked. It just saved this area. So much fewer lines, points, and polygons available to us. Now, if making sure that we know where this is saved to, because I didn't look, I should have double checked where I exported it to, but I'm going to export it anyway as a new feature, as another KLM file. And so I'm going to right click on our new layer, export, save feature as. We've got our KLM. I'm going to name this contour Everest small. Oops, except for I didn't put it in a folder. So let's hit my 3 dots and then put it in terrain. And there we go. And we'll just click save. And now I've got it in the right folder. I've given it the right name that I want it to have. And I'm going to click OK. And I'm going to click Add Layers. There it is. It should already be saved in the right spot, but you can go look if you want in your GIS folder to make sure that it is. And there it is. Okay. Nope, wait a minute. There it is. KLM file. We're looking for the KLM file. So there it is, right there. That's the one I just saved. Okay. All right, so we can shrink this down and go back to Google Earth. And then we can, at Google Earth, we can click on the Add button, import KLM, and it's on our device. So we're going to click on Add our Upload from Device. And there's my KLM file, small. It's a small file, smaller anyway. And it's going to upload that file. It completed it, and now it's going to zoom in to our area. And here we go. We've got our area, our contour lines. Now, if we click on 3D, there we go. We can see how it lays out over the area. Looks fabulous. And now we've got something we can turn in. So you're going to take a screenshot of this and turn this screenshot in. If you need to know how to do that, you can simply open up the file snipping tool. And there's the snipping tool. Every Windows computer has it. If you've got an Apple, you'll have to use something else. I don't know what to do there, but you need a screenshot of this. And I am just going to, I clicked new, and I'm just going to click and drag my button across, and there it is. I'm going to click save. And I've got a capture. I'm going to save that. And that file is what I'm going to upload to Canvas to turn in. Okay? Hopefully that is all useful, and I hope you have a wonderful day.